What is going on, guys? Welcome to Greggles TV Daily, your source for daily tech news. Make sure you're subscribed so you know what's going on in the world of tech. How is everyone doing? It's Wednesday. Dynamite's on tonight if you're an AEW fan like myself. Also, a little bit cold again still. Hopefully it's warming up where you are, but it's probably really cold depending upon where you live because I'm in California. And then we also have some really cool tech stories and a bunch of questions, so let's just dive into the tech news. First, our first story is about a dual folding phone patent coming out from Oppo, so check this out. This information is coming out from Let's Go Digital, and as you can see from the headline, Oppo find an dual fold smartphone. Oppo is working on a unique foldable smartphone with two hinges, allowing the triple camera system to be rotated to the front. How cool is that you can rotate that camera around to potentially have the best cameras no matter what you're doing with your foldable phone, allowing for that dual hinge to really give it some functionality over maybe some other foldable phones that we've seen before, where you get cameras on the front and that's what you get, and the cameras on the back and that's what you get. These ones you can basically just flip-flop them all the way around and get the best photo all the time, no matter which way, in which orientation you have the phone. Now, when and if this phone will come out is another story, but still, it's just cool to see that we're getting more and more companies going into these dual and triple folding hinges, and that's obviously the next evolution of folding phones, so get ready for the future, baby, because it's coming. Next up, Anthony the Galaxy put together a very nice tweet comparing the Note 20 Ultra 5G versus the S22 Ultra spec for spec, and let's just run through this a little bit. First of all, you see that the screen is going to be a little bit smaller on the S22 Ultra, but both have 120 hertz refresh rates on there. Snapdragon 865 and Exynos 990 versus the Exynos 2200 and Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. So obviously you get a little bit more power this time around, especially with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. Exynos 2200, we'll wait and see. Camera setup, pretty much the same for the most part. When you look at it side by side, you might even think that, you know what, I'm getting a little bit better with the Note 20 Ultra, but I think with customizations and optimizations and just overall software improvements, you should get better photos with the S22 Ultra. Also, you're getting Gorilla Glass Victus versus Victus Plus, which is newer, better, stronger on the S22 Ultra. Obviously, the prices when they came out, $12.99 versus $11.99, so a little bit cheaper this time around. The other ones we got, the traditional camera lens versus the super clear lens on the S22 Ultra. Battery's a little bit bigger, you're getting 500 more milliamps. You're getting faster charging, you're getting 45 watt charging. And that's supposed to be real 45 watt charging on the S22 Ultra. 12 gigs of RAM across the board for the Note 20 Ultra, except if you got the 4G model, but we're just talking about the 5G. Whereas in the S22 Ultra, you're getting as little as 8 gigs of RAM and as much as 16 gigs of RAM, and then storage 128, 256, and 512 versus 128 all the way up to 1 terabyte on the S22 Ultra. Obviously, S Pen has been improved. The milliseconds is down to 2.8 versus 9 milliseconds on that Note 20 Ultra. Video, you're getting 8K, up to 8K, I should say, on the Note 20 Ultra. But you get 8K Super HDR video recording, so it's been much improved seemingly on the S22 Ultra. Both have IP68 certifications. What about those selfie cameras? You're looking at 10 megapixel on the Note 20 Ultra versus 40 megapixel on the S22 Ultra, so big improvement there. Ultrasonic fingerprint scanner versus the second generation ultrasonic fingerprint scanner. I'm not a fan of either one of these, but hey, I'd rather have Gen 2 versus Gen 1. Stereo speakers across the board for both phones. Micro SD card expansion on the Note 20 Ultra versus none at all on the S22 Ultra. Traditional vibration motor versus the new X-axis linear motor on that S22 Ultra. So vibrations, good vibrations, should be good on the new phone. 50x versus 100x zoom, so you're getting double the zoom amount on the S22 Ultra, which is really cool for moonshots and really far away shots and really far away captures of just who is that person from hundreds of yards away. And then software-wise, it launched with One UI 2.5 on that Note 20 Ultra, but it's now at One UI 4, whereas on the S22 Ultra, it's going to launch with One UI 4.1 and then obviously grow from there. So cool to see that nice breakdown of specs from there. And you know, when you look at it, you're like, you know what? There's not that much of improvement. Just when you're just looking at them beans for beans, specs for specs, you're not blown away by looking at something on the S22 Ultra. At least I'm not. Again, just looking at the specs. So I'm hoping that the phone is going to be like, wow me, because otherwise it's like, no, it's not that impressive. I mean, it's impressive, but it's not like blow me away impressive. What do you guys think? Next up is a quote unquote first impressions hands-on review of the S22 Ultra, because somebody at a Verizon store who works there got a first hands-on impression of the phone. I kind of wanted to go through the Reddit page of what he responded with what people asked him and what he thought about his first impressions of the phone. So it's kind of like a quote-unquote first review, quote-unquote first hands-on impression of the phone. So let's just check this out. So the headline says, I got to see the S22 Ultra in hand. I work for Verizon in sales. The phone looks exactly like the Note 20 Ultra pen, built-in and body size, but the camera doesn't stick out. It's almost all flat. Ask me anything, I'll try to answer what little info I was given. So the first one says, is it wider than the S21 Ultra and what color did you see? So he said slightly wider look, and I think he saw the black one, but yeah, slightly wider feeling than the S21 Ultra if you're curious. Is it noticeably thicker than the Note 20 Ultra? And he said it felt thinner in hand, so it's kind of interesting. Bigger battery, slightly smaller screen, but it's gonna feel thinner in your hand. Now, what about versus the S21 Ultra? He says it felt larger than that phone, so take that if you want it to be bigger or smaller. He's saying it's gonna feel larger. Also, speaking about the size, he said it feels like it's the same weight as the Note 20 Ultra. The back glass is smooth and nice, and the pen was also the same size as the Note 20 Ultra. Lastly, he says it did show the night mode off, but it was daytime, even with the lights off. My store's glass all around, so it was limited in the showcase. It also had an updated object eraser in the pen mode. So if you wanted to erase things with the pen, they've updated that so you can easily erase things. So there's your first quote unquote hands-on impressions. Obviously it's not completely like which camera's way better, what was the performance, like all the things that you might be interested in, but getting a few details about the feeling of it in your hand and the weight and, you know, some of the features is kind of interesting. I mean, we'll take what we can get. The phone's not out for, or at least going to be announced for another week or so. So take that with what you may. So there you guys go. That is your news for today. Your question of the day is, what's the most money you would spend for a phone before you would kind of take a step back and be like, you know what? I'm not gonna pay that. I think for me, it's about $2,000, and it's gotta be a really special phone at that for me to even keep it at $2,000. So I think that might be my max. Obviously, you might be able to get me up to $2,200, but basically around $2,000 would probably be my max that I'd wanna pay. Let me know about you guys in the comments down below. With that said, let's get into the Q&A portion of the video and drop that beat. Tina Hutton says, my Fold 3 freezes in apps to where I have to shut down and restart. How do I fix it? Oh, I haven't heard this one. First of all, check to make sure you don't have any updates with those apps by going into the Google Play Store and the Samsung Galaxy App Store as well. Go in those two apps, check for updates. Those might fix your issues. Also check to see if you have any software updates in terms of the phone itself. Go into settings, go down to software updates, check. If those three things don't fix it, try to find the culprit app at hand, remove it, and keep removing those apps until you see if your phone is stable or not. Beyond that, I don't have a fix for you, but try those things that I said first. New York's Finest says, have you started using or tried using auto framing, New York's Finest says, have you tried using auto framing motion detection on your Z Fold 3, Z Flip 3 in your video option? If so, what do you think of this feature? Will the S22 Ultra and Tab 8 improve this feature? Right now, I'm hearing it only exclusively in the Z Flip 3 and Z Fold 3. No, I haven't tried it. I don't even think I've seen it in there, to be honest with you. Let me look in my list of options. I have to research it a little more. Maybe it's hidden. I don't see anything about auto framing or anything like that in here. I'll have to research that a little bit more, and if I do, I'll potentially do a video on it for you. Last question of the day comes from Kai, and Kai's asking, another great video, my friend, thank you. I do have a question. Do you think Samsung will upgrade the Tab S8 series keyboards and hopefully include backlit keys this time around? So yeah, one of the big things with the Tab S8 Ultra anyway, is that they are supposed to be improving the keyboard and the accessories overall. In terms of adding a backlit keyboard, I don't know. I would think they would do something like that, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. I'm gonna say, and I know I have no idea, I'm gonna say yes, they will add a backlit keyboard to it this year, and I hope they do. So there you guys go, that is your questions for today. Thank you so much. Just dropped a case. Make sure if you have a question, leave it in the comments down below. And remember, we're having a contest right now as well, giving away an S22 Ultra and 2 Redmi phones to 3 lucky winners. So check it out in the comments down below, and we'll see you down the road. Peace.